Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here outside my office at the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And I thought I would do take a look at Donald Trump. And I'm going to look at his astrology, his solar return, and his numerology for this year. This is a very we'll say it's a time of great change. And, you know, of course, he is on some level very much a creator of change, generally through chaos. So, but it is at these times of chaos where we can make the changes that are necessary to move in a different direction. A better direction for everyone. So there is the promise of that at this time, as well as a promise of great chaos. So I want to take a look at his charts. I'm going to share my screen with you. And we're going to look at a couple of things. I think the first thing I want to look at is his numerology. Now, I have done his numerology before, and you can look back at that. It was right at the beginning of his presidency. I tried to be as open-minded as I could be at that time and optimistic at that time. I wasn't pleased that he was president at that time. And quite frankly, well, I can't say, I was going to say my mind hasn't changed in that way, but it actually has. I've been through a process, like many of us, where it's like, no, and then you come to a point of acceptance, and then you come to a point of, okay, well, if we're going to go through this, what are we here to learn from this experience? And then is there anything we can do to mitigate some of the more extreme things that could possibly happen? I mean, we have to remember that we are co-creative. We are in a co-creative process with the universe. Actually, I think that's something that Trump understands. Whether he would call it that or even give the universe any kind of credit is another story. But he does know how to manifest, and he does know how to move energy, and we're certainly all moving. The question is, can we avoid falling off the cliff, falling into the abyss through this process? And so that is sort of the, that's a question to be answered, I guess, at some point. So the first thing I want to share with you is his numerology. So let me share my screen with you guys. Okay, just give me a moment here. Okay, here we go. All right, so hopefully you can see this. Let me just make sure that I'm sharing the right one. I might not be sharing the right one. Okay, just give me one moment, guys. I think I'm having a technical issue. Okay, I think I figured out what I did. You know. All right, so this is Donald Trump's path and abilities map. And what the information we get from this is we get the information or the vibration of his name and his date of birth. Now, your name is the vibration that you come in on. It's akin to, in an astrology chart, Pluto and the North and South Node and the rulers of the North and South Node. In astrology, when you look at a chart and you look at the placement of Pluto, Pluto's polarity point, which is always opposite Pluto in the chart, the South Node of the Moon, the North Node of the Moon, where the person's been, where they're going, and then we can get information from the rulers of those nodes. But the name really is Pluto in a chart and the South Node and the rulers of the South Node. That gives us an indication of the past or where he's come from. And then, of course, the polarity point of Pluto in a chart and the North Node and the rulers of that node are what shows us where he's, where the person is going, the direction of their evolution. So the name really is what the person has sort of created up to this point as a soul. Now, if we take the vowels, okay, of a person, and we add them up, we get something called a soul vibration. And for him, his soul vibration is a 16-7 vibration. The soul is your inner self. Sometimes people are not aware of their inner self. In men, this is common. In older men, it's common because in order to be connected to your soul, you need to be connected to your inner feminine. And that's more likely now as we have evolved and developed that understanding that each one of us holds within us an internal masculine and an internal feminine. And the more balanced that those two parts of yourself are, the more balanced you are. Otherwise, you will tend more towards the feminine side, perhaps, or instead of calling it feminine, we could call it yin, like internally oriented, sort of like pulling everything in, attracting things, magnetic attraction, as opposed to the yang side, which is the more masculine side. Some people are just all yang, right? They don't look within themselves. They're sort of human doers, right? They're doing. That's very yang. That's energy moving out, right? So that is that yang piece is actually, if we add all the consonants up, and you can call that the quiescent or the outer personality. There are different terms for this. But this is really more the mask that you wear or the face that you put out into the world. And this is your sort of internal self. Now, if you add up his consonants, he has a 52/7. So he is a double 7 vibration. When you have 7 as a base number, is a number where we are coming to understand who we are, okay? We are a mystery. 7 is about mystery, and it's also about analysis. So there needs to be with 7 a self-reflective quality to get the best use of having 7s. When you have a double 7, you are somewhat of a mystery, okay? And you can be a mystery to yourself, especially when your soul is a 7, okay? So this could be somebody who is very much aware of who they are, both on an inner and an outer level, or they could be totally unconscious of that, okay? Now, the 16-7 vibration as a soul vibration is connected with this card right here, the Tower. Whoops, sorry. Okay, the Tower card. So Donald Trump's soul is actually connected to the Tower. The energy of the Tower is disruption. And we certainly know that he is disruptor in chief, right? And of course, it's a tower, and he has his own tower, right? Trump Tower. And he identifies with that tower, right? He identifies that. He's said it's taller than it actually is. It's greater than it actually is. Kind of like he sees Trump Tower as a reflection of him, at least up to the point before he became president. Now I think he feels like the United States is him. He is the United States, right? He and the United States are exactly the same in his mind. The thing is with the Tower vibration is that when you have it, you can create a lot of chaos and a lot of destruction. But it really brings out, if it's not going to happen on the inside, it will generally express itself on the outside. And so what happens is that the people that surround himself come to understand who they really are. Who are you really? Okay? And so there have been people who have gotten in his orbit and have had to decide what was most important to them, right? In the case of Michael Cohen, as an example, he decided that his family was more important than his connection to Donald Trump. And it wasn't until he realized that he could lose his family that he decided to, we'll call it, do the right thing, right? Before that, before the sort of the law came down on him, he was willing to go along with the grand Trump plan, even though inside of himself, and certainly his wife told him that this was a terrible thing. Okay, so that's an example of somebody being required to sort of make a decision, right? And what you maybe have noticed about Trump is that he does bring out people's sort of worst sides or best sides, depending on how the person reacts and responds to him, depending on what the person does. If there is an underside or a dark side, Trump brings it out in people. Okay, he has that ability with the tower there. Now his outer personality, this quiescent vibration here, is 52/7, is actually this card here, the Queen of Swords. Okay, the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is somebody who has good judgment. Now, I think as it pertains to him, he always knows what's best to do for himself. And he's not unwilling to sort of bring the sword down on anybody who crosses him. Generally, the Queen of Swords is a woman who has good judgment of other people and is fair. You see, the sword is straight up and down. She also has been able to untether herself. If you see right here around her wrist, she has a tether that she has cut herself. She also has her head above the clouds, you see, and the clouds are storm clouds. So she has her head above the storm clouds. Now, you could also utilize this energy to create storms and keep your head above the clouds, right? This could be very vengeful. This could be somebody who brings the sword down too fast, who cuts people out, who isolates themselves. One of the problems with this energy in a negative sense is it could be very isolating. 7 feels very isolated, and he has it as a soul vibration and an outer personality vibration. So he feels very much alone. Okay, and that has to be hard for somebody who all he really wants is to be loved. But can he accept that love? Can he bring it into himself? I would dare say he cannot. So here we have his quiescent, the 52/7. This vibration, of course, the 16/7 vibration, the Tower card, is associated with the planet Mars. And he has a powerful Mars. He has Mars in Leo. And it is right on his ascendant, but it's out of the 12th house. And so when you have Mars in the 12th house, first of all, the 12th house can be your house of undoing, but it's sort of hidden. So so it's like, this is the type of energy where somebody could come up to your face smiling, but they have the knife behind the back, right? Because there's aggression, but it's not overt. It's not overt. It isn't until you have to use it. And I would say, like, at this point, he comes across as sort of he used to anyway, as like kind of like a talker and a jolly and kind of funny and witty and all of this. And then the knife would come out, right? So we've seen this in the way that he has kind of lived his life, right? If you're an observer. I'm an unwilling observer. Let's put it that way. I've been unwillingly watching him. I never watched any of his shows. I rarely read anything about him. I didn't really have an opinion, except that I knew that he was kind of a scammer. I grew up in New Jersey, right outside of New York City. So I had some experience with the whole sort of stuff around Trump, but I never invested in any time in it. So I just want to be clear about that. The other vibration here in his quiescent is a 22. Okay, and he gets the 22 because the consonants in the name Trump vibrate to a 22, and this is the card associated with the 22. Oops, sorry. Let's see what I'm doing. Okay, it's the Fool card. Now this is his outer personality, so he knows how to play the fool. Okay, he knows how to play the fool. Is he foolish? You would think he is, but it seems to be working for him, right? So you're like, well, it's working for him. This card, the Fool, is associated with the planet Uranus. And we'll look at the Tree of Life and where it sits on the Tree of Life and all of that shortly. But in his chart, and we will look at his chart also, and I'll point it out when we look at it, he does have Uranus conjunct his North Node in Gemini and conjunct his Sun in Gemini. In fact, his North Node sits between his Sun and Uranus, all up in Gemini, all within 3 or 4 degrees of each other. So it's very powerfully placed in the 10th house. The 10th house is the most public place. So he's gonna express chaos in the most public of ways. Okay, all right. So we know that we have a double 7 and we have a 22. So we have somebody who is either who's probably not that aware of his inner self, but maybe he is, but it's a 7, so we don't know. We're not really sure. He's either the brightest bulb or the dimmest bulb. We're not quite sure, right? Some people would say he's a genius. Other people would say he's a dum-dum. But I'll say one thing. He has instincts. He has instincts. And he is, in a way, a pure id energy. I want this. I want that. This is what I want. I want me, I. And there are reasons for that we can see in his chart and in his numerology as well. Okay. So if we take his soul vibration, which is the Tower card, Mars energy, and his outer personality, the 52-7 vibration is actually associated with both Libra and Aquarius. Libra in that it's found in Bina on the Tree of Life, which is associated with second decan of the cardinal signs. And this is air vibration. This is swords, right? And also Aquarius, because all the queen, this is the queen, right? All the queens are associated with the fixed signs. So there's sort of a dual energy here of Aquarius and Libra. Now, he doesn't have a lot of Aquarius in his chart, save for the polarity point of Pluto, and he has, I think, Ceres in Aquarius, which is an asteroid. But he does have a lot of Libra. And he has Neptune in Libra, he has Chiron in Libra, and he has Jupiter in Libra. And that's all in his second house, and we'll look at that. So he does have a lot of Libra energy. He also has Juno, the asteroid Juno, I believe, in Libra. And then the 22 is that a Uranian energy, and we know that he has Uranus conjunct the node and conjunct his North Node and opposite his moon. So that opposition to his moon makes his emotions very volatile. He has a moon in Sagittarius, which is fire. So this is a very volatile person. All right. If you add these two vibrations together, you get this third vibration. The third vibration is the expression vibration. And the expression vibration is how you balance your inner and outer self. Okay. It is also how you express upon the world, in a way, how your energy sort of impresses the world. And he has a 68 over 5 vibration here. This 68.5 is associated with the sign of Virgo. And Virgos are generally hard workers. They're always applying themselves, but they tend to be insecure. So there's an insecurity about this man that we all feel, and to a certain extent, I think, for many people, they can really, what's the word I'm looking for? They can feel that in themselves, right? So they see him as somebody who's trying their best, Virgo, and is getting criticized, right? And he's not above you utilizing that, um, and that victim, like the fact that he's a terrible victim of all these situations, um, despite the fact that he is, you know, for all intents and purposes, the most powerful person on the planet. He still likes to use the victim card, and we'll talk about that when we look at the tree of life. But this is the vibration right here. It's the Page of Pentacles. And so this is somebody who has a lot to learn about how to manifest on the physical plane. Now you would say, wow, he's a billionaire. But is he? All right. So this is the energy that he has within his chart, okay? His path of life, okay, you get the path of life by adding his birthday, June 14th, 1946. June is a 6, plus 14 is a 20. 1946 is also a 20. We add them together, we get the 40/4 vibration. And the 4 is about building, okay? So he has come in to build something. But it's an interesting 4 because, first of all, it's a 4 with the God force. Okay, when you have a 0, there's the God force there. It kind of acts like a master number. The 40/4 is associated with this card. Another page, the Page of Cups. Okay. Now, this is a card associated with Pisces. He does not have Pisces in his chart. Pisces is about illusion. It can be illusional, delusional. It can be about, the 40/4 can also be associated with addiction. And I don't know if his father drank. I'm not sure. I know his brother died of alcoholism. But there's also addiction to gambling. I'm not saying that he has an addiction to gambling, but he has made a lot of money on people's addictions to gambling. Okay, sort of built his house of cards, I guess we could say, or built his foundation on this energy. And it can be this can be a very toxic energy if you're not careful about the people around you and the energy around you, because the fish can be living in a fishbowl, and if they're not, or somebody's not cleaning the water to that fishbowl, eventually things get murkier and murkier and murkier, and then one day they just die but they don't realize it. It's like you're sitting in your own poop, really. And so when you have this vibration, this 40/4 vibration in your chart, you have to make sure that the waters around you are always clean. And he has a tendency to do that. I think he does that pretty well, because when somebody doesn't agree with his worldview, which is very much that like sort of 40 vibration, he just gets rid of them. He just cuts them out. He's like, you're not agreeing with my reality here, and so I'm just going to cut you out of this situation. And so he does. And so maybe he's learned how to do that, right? Okay, and then the last vibration I want to talk about is this vibration here. This is his eccentric angle. Your eccentric angle is your shadow. It is where you have a block, okay? It's where you have an issue. Now, the 37/1 vibration is actually the King of Cups, okay? The King of Cups. When you're dealing with kings and queens in a chart, we know that there's big issues around mother-father, okay? And there are things in his astrological chart that also indicate that. He has his nodes in the 10th and the 4th house. Anybody with nodes in the 10th and the 4th house, or Pluto in the 10th or Pluto in the 4th, the polarity point being either in the opposite house, have family issues, right? So there's a lot of family issues here. His quiescent is a queen, and his shadow is a king. And so the relationship between his mother and father would have been very important to his development. Now, this one generally the King of Cups is a benevolent king. But when you have it as a shadow, this can be a father who's very demanding, who's very much into the family, but not into loving the family, right? It has more to do with the family name, you know, the family, the familia, you know, if you want to go to the Italians. But they don't necessarily, this king does not look, this king is not looking into his cup. He's sort of looking over it. He's not looking at his issues. This can be somebody who has a father who's very emotionally explosive. It can be an explosiveness. When you have a 1 as a shadow, you can either have no sense of who you are or an extremely outlandish idea of who you are. And so what this can do is you do not, with a 1 shadow, it's very hard to get perspective, okay? Because you can only, it's like you're walking around with blinders on, okay? You're walking around with blinders on. Now, I'm going to share a different screen here. And so give me a moment here. Okay, hold on one second. Okay. Let's see if this is it. This is what I want to share. No, that's not the one I want to share. This is the one I want to share. All right. Hopefully you can see this. I am going to double check that. Okay, so here we have his numerology. And I'm just going to pull this in a little so we can get a little closer view here. Okay, here we go. I think I have to go out just a little bit so we can see everything. Let me just, oh, okay, here we go. So as we look at this, all right, what I've done is I've taken the numbers that we got from his path and abilities map, and I have put it on this tree of life. Now, let's take a look. His soul vibration was a 16-7, right? Here's his soul vibration right here. Okay. His quiescent or outer personality was that 52/7. Here we have it up here. Quiescent 52/7 in this circle right here. And then we also have his quiescent here, the 22 vibration right there. Okay. His path of life is all the way down here in Malkuth, as is his expression. Okay, remember we have the Page of Cups here and the Page of Pentacles. Here we have the Fool card. I have it written there, the Fool. Here we have the Tower. And here we have the Queen of Swords. Okay. His, let's see, and his shadow right here, 37-1, the King of Cups. Now, when you look at the Tree of Life, you can actually overlay the chakra system on the Tree of Life. I do have a video on different ways of looking at and utilizing the Tree of Life and looking different ways you can work with it. So if you want to check that out, that might be helpful for you. Might be a good primer actually before you look into this stuff. So here we have, this is called Kether, and I haven't written the Hebrew names. I've written the English translations. Kether means crown. This is the first Sephiroth. Okay, Sephiroth is singular. Sephira is plural. So this is 1, and then this is 2. This is Chokmah, which means wisdom. This is 3. This is Baina. Baina is understanding. If we come over here, this is 4. This is Hesed or mercy. 5, Gebura or severity. 6, Tippereth or beauty. 7, Netzach or victory. 8, Hod or glory. 9, Yisad or foundation. And 10 is Malkuth or kingdom. Okay? So that's how these things are numbered. Now, the crown here, or Keter, is located in the crown chakra. Baina, understanding, and Hokmah, wisdom, are located in the third eye. We have Gebura and Hesed, mercy and severity, in the throat. We have beauty, or Tiphareth, in the heart chakra. We have Hod and Netzach, glory and victory, in the solar plexus. We have Yesod, foundation, in the sacral chakra, and then we have Malkuth, or kingdom, in the root chakra. And so we can see where, as he comes in this lifetime, where his energy is. And he has energy in the crown via his connection to this path that gets activated by his 22 quiescent, his third eye, which gets activated through his quiescent and his shadow, his solar plexus, where he has his soul, and his root, where he has his path of life and expression. And so these are some of the issues. We have here a connection to source, or not a connection to source. When you have something activating Keter, you could be a highly spiritual person, or you could be a psychopath. Okay, usually that's associated with a number in here, but we can see it through the connection here as well. And what I mean by psychopath is you feel like you are God. Okay, you feel you are God, that there's no one above you. Here we have the shadow here in Hokmah, in his third eye. He has both his quiescent, which is talents and abilities he brings forth from other lifetimes, his ability to cut people off. This is his isolationist tendencies. This can be somebody who's makes decisions from a mental level, and it doesn't touch their heart, right? His shadow here is in this Sephiroth, right? This is his shadow is water. And so it's very much that his emotions are a reflection of he's very emotional, but he's only emotional in how it affects him. This is the narcissist. One shadow can be a narcissist, or it could be somebody who's a complete empath and completely gives themselves over to other people because they don't have a sense of who they are, or a sense of identity. He has a sense of identity. He thinks that he's God, quite frankly. And he has things active in the supernal triangle, which is the first three, which is the top triangle here. When you have numbers in here, you actually can affect, for good or evil, a lot of people, because it's at the top of the tree. This is the part of the tree associated with fire, okay, spirit. When you come to this part of the tree, these three Sephiroth, this is associated with water, okay, and emotion. And you see he doesn't really have much in there, although you see all these squares here. He does have, when you see a square in a chart, these are challenges. This here, and I'm going to bring it in a bit closer. Just give me a second here. Okay, I'm going to bring it even closer than that. So I want you to see the numbers. So these squares here come from something called his divine triangle. And I didn't actually point it out when we were looking at his path and abilities map. But I can go back and we can point it out. This 39/3 is his youth square. This was the energy that he was working with. And because it's a square, it's a challenge when from age 0 to age 27. And hold on a second. What is going on here? Okay, sorry. I couldn't find something. This is the vibration. This is the king, the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is very idealistic, also very sensitive and poetic. So I would say that chances are he was very much that energy But that energy could have been injured, right? And hurt through his family dynamic. So we have the page of cups here in his youth. Then we have his next 27 years of life, which is called your power square. And your power square is how well or unwell you deal with the issues of your youth. Okay. Three is creative, fun-loving. They want love. They're in love with love. They want a lot of attention, right? They want to be the golden child. To a certain extent, I guess he was kind of the golden child when it came to his father, but he didn't get a lot of emotional support, right? So the next square, which goes from age 27 to age 54, is the power square. And this is how you either deal with this is how you build your power. And you build it upon how well you can deal with the issues of your youth square. And here we have his power square in here, 31/4 vibration. And this is the card, the five of wands, chaos, melee. This is familiar, right? So what's interesting about this vibration is it's associated in a place on a tree of life called Gebura, located in the throat chakra. Okay, so the way you speak. Okay, the way you speak is very important. But Kabbalah is the place of instant karma, or it's the place of karma. And it's associated with Mars. Remember, he has Mars very prominent in his chart, conjunct his descendant from the 12th house in Leo, which is a very powerful position for Mars, right? So this vibration can also be associated with sexual abuse, like being the victimizer in that case. It could be victim as well, but it could also be victimizer. This is somebody who could have a very strong libido that they can't control. Okay, remember we have Mars here. This actually, the symbol of Mars, this arrow pointing up, is a symbol of the penis, right? That which impregnates, that which sort of plants itself, right? That energy. Okay, so that's sort of his power. But it is, it's eventually, because of the energy of this, you don't get away with it forever. And, you may get away with it in this lifetime, but you won't get it away with it in the next lifetime. So I think all his stuff will eventually come out. It may be after he dies, he's 73 now, so he has a lot of stuff that could come out of the closet, right? I think that's going to happen. He may or may not be here for it, but certainly his family and his name will be out there to experience that. And then this is his wisdom square. And he's in his wisdom square now. The wisdom square goes from age 54 to age 81. He's on the last line of his wisdom square. And this is a 53/8 vibration. And that vibration is also a knight. It's also located in Tippereth, in his heart. And this is the vibration. So this is somebody who has the right intention, perhaps, or perhaps not. But generally, like, I'm going to fight, I'm going to do it, but they're impulsive and they create more problems than they actually solve. But their intention in their own head is I guess they're well intended in their own head, but what that actually means depends on the level that this person is working at. And here we have the base number of that is the 8. So that's another indication of karma. So we have his power square in the place of karma, and we have his wisdom square all about karma, because 8 is as you sow, so shall you reap. So everything eventually will come back onto him. Everything that he has created will, on some level, be exposed. Okay. So, and the other thing I want to point out here is we have the soul here, okay? The soul is on this path of the tower. The tower is associated with Mars. Here's another energy of Mars, and we have Mars in Leo. This path is the path of Leo. We have Mars in Leo. So we have Mars activating this path in his throat and activating this path in his solar plexus. This is the place of spirit, divine will. See, divine will. And this is the place of personal will. Now, I am not evolved enough, or would ever imagine I'm evolved enough to say that he is not actually doing exactly what he's here to do. I have a feeling that that is true. As to whether he's aware of it or not is another question. This could be spirit utilizing his particular and peculiar energies to wake us up to something. Okay? All right. So I am going to pause this again. I will be back because I want to point something else to you about his chart. Okay, I'm back. So this is also his tree of life, but I have what's highlighted, what's going on in his solar return this time. Oops. To remember that. I'm outside. I just remember to put stuff on stuff so it doesn't fly away. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I have here his numbers, right? We have his quiescent here, his eccentric angle, his other quiescent vibration. In 2016, when he was elected, he was in a 2911 vibration. Okay, Hillary was in a 9 vibration. I think it was a 45-9 vibration. So for Hillary, it was the end of the road, but for him, it was the beginning. The 2911 vibration, incidentally, is the soul, I believe, of Obama. Is it his soul? No, he's got a 27-9 soul. It's his path of life. Obama's path of life, right? Interesting. Anyway, this is associated with Aries. It's associated with the 3 of Wands. It is in Bina, this black circle here. Bina is the place of the divine feminine. Okay. It can be a place, it is a place of great suffering. When you have numbers in Bina, you have suffered. It's about walking through the darkness to find the inner light. And we have a quiescent here. Okay. All the queens are in here. This just happens to be the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Wands is in here. The Queen of Cups is in here. The Queen of Pentacles is in here. They're just different number vibrations. So when he became president in 2016, he was in this vibration. Every year on your birthday, you move into sort of a temporary vibration for that year. Now, last year on his birthday in 2019, he went into a 32.5 vibration. What's interesting about the 32.5 vibration is the word America vibrates at 32.5. It is also the path of life for the United States, but it is also the shadow of the United States. So in 2019 to 2020, he would have expressed either the best of America or the worst. Okay. Now in 2020, on his birthday, he actually moves into a 24-6 vibration. And the 24-6 vibration is the Queen of Wands. So he's in a queen vibration. 6, as a base number, is the number of responsibility in community. It is in Bina, so this is a time of darkness, okay? And 6 is not a number we see in his chart that much, right? it's not, he doesn't have a karmic 6, but we know none of his major numbers are 6s. And so this can be, this is going to be a challenging time for him. This is a Leo vibration. This is a Leo vibration. And remember, he has Mars in Leo. And what's happening right now, and what will continue to happen, is Jupiter is inconjuncting that Mars from Capricorn, and Pluto is inconjuncting that Mars from Capricorn. But in his chart, probably the biggest thing is that Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter are opposing his Venus and Saturn in Cancer. And Eris, which I've talked about before, the goddess of discord, is creating a T-square. And Eris in Aries, making a last quarter square to Pluto at this time, is revolution. And he's very much the focus. He's very much the enzyme in the catalytic enzyme in this story. Now, at age 72, he moved on to the last line of his wisdom years. And the last line of his wisdom years is right here. It's an 8. Okay, it's the H in John. He's there from 72 to 81, so from 2018 to 2027. It is associated with his Pluto. He has Pluto in Leo in that 12th house, and he has Mars in Leo in that 12th house, and he has a Leo ascendant. The 12th house is your undoing, okay? And here we have an 8 here. We have this energy of undoing, and we have this wisdom square with an 8 here. 8 is as you sow, so shall you reap. Now, before that, he was in a 15-6 period. From age 63 to age 72, it was 2009 to 2018. He was in a 15-6. 15-6 is the devil. So who did he make? How do you say that? He made a, what do you call it, the devil? He made a pact with the devil. It's interesting because in 2009, I believe, that's when he started the whole birtherism thing. So it was like a plan. I feel like he was, there were people behind him that decided he would be good. So we could, get back at this Obama guy and create enough chaos and discord so that they could get what they want. And Trump sort of decided, yeah, I'll do it. If it's gonna, if I can make money doing it, sure, because the bottom line really is money for him. So, so from 2009, he was on this path here, but now he's here, and now he's in an 8, and so I feel as though this is very much a time when it will be held accountable. It's also located in his throat chakra. And so the words that he says will be looked at and examined. And so we know that he's a great liar. So that will be looked at as well. So I think that's what I want to say about his numerology and Kabbalah. This went a whole lot longer than I had hoped. Or that I had imagined it would, which of course it always does. I will do the astrology, but I'm going to do it in a separate video. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe if you would like this done for yourself. With the astrology, I do that. If you would like this done just by itself, I can do that as well. You can contact me on my website. There'll be links below. All right, guys. And if you'd like to donate, if you find this interesting and you want to give me a little donation, that would be great too. There's a link below for that as well. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.